Hey guys, I'm Jacinta Robinson and welcome to the Fearlss Podcast, where I interview athletes who've achieved incredible things. Today's guest had a history as a child of health problems, which led her into becoming a naturopath. On the podcast today, we speak about healthy poos. We also speak about greens powder. We talk about gut biome and how important it is to get your gut bacteria healthy. I'd like to welcome the founder of Goodmix, Jeanie. Welcome to the podcast, Jeanie. Now, I know you're a nutrition. I was going to say a ninja.
I'm also, yes, a ninja. No, I'd love to be a ninja, but unfortunately not yet in my life.
So you're a naturopath, right?
Yes.
And tell us about what inspired you to get into the health industry.
Okay.
And be a ninja.
So, yeah. So disclaimer, I wouldn't consider myself a naturopath. Now I'm more a food manufacturer. I'm a little bit rusty in certain areas, but I studied naturopathy straight out of high school. The reason I got into it, I was really sick. I was just, all kinds of stuff was happening in my life. And I ended up going to see a naturopath after lots of doctor's appointments and went to see a naturopath. The naturopath helped my mum and helped myself. And I was just like, I want to know, all of this stuff. It makes so much more sense to me than the Western medical system that I'd previously been exposed to. So, yeah, became fascinated in it. I'd never been exposed to it till I was, 16 when I went to see the naturopath. And, yeah, it helped me a lot. And that's when I became interested.
Yeah. And was this something, like you said, that your mum had went with you?
Yeah.
Is this something that's passed down in the family?
Okay, so my mum had chronic fatigue syndrome at a time when chronic fatigue wasn't really recognised as a thing. It was like, that's just in your mind. I can't really help you. The Western medical system didn't really recognise it at that point, and there wasn't a lot that they could offer her. So she was, through desperation, went to see some naturopaths and, saw a whole different perspective. They helped her with diet, herbal stuff, and she did start to see improvements. And then, of course, when I was not well, so what happened with me, we grew up on a beef cattle farm, so right in the middle of Queensland, a long way from, hospital care. My mum had been a nurse previously, so I guess when she was bringing up her kids, she was probably used to seeing worst case scenarios in, children. Infections can lead to worse things, so like we'd get an ear infection and be like, oh God, this could turn into meningitis. I've seen that. Chest infection, that can lead to pneumonia, all that sort of thing. So she was quite vigilant with quick, go get some antibiotics. And so I was quite prone to ear infections, chest infections, had a lot of antibiotics in my life growing up as a kid. And then went away to boarding school and just ate garbage basically. At 11 years old, you go to boarding school. It's like, woohoo, I'm just going to eat white bread, like 6 pieces of white bread with cheap crappy peanut butter for lunch, and no one's there telling me I've got to eat my fruit and veggies and whatever. So and plus you'd go to the tuck shop and just eat just junk. So yeah, and then you couldn't poo privately. So I was in this dormitory with 48 other girls, and I was like one of the youngest, and I was like, okay, I don't want to poo here. Like, there's like, so I'm like, just we'll save it for later. And then ended up, the symptom I had was I had to pee all the time. And this is in year 6 or 7, must have been year 6. And I was like, oh, I have to pee all the time and there's no pee coming out. And it was because I had so much poo in my colon. It was pressing on my poor little bladder, and it was just, there was no room in my bladder. And it was like, so I was like completely full of shit basically. From crappy, like destroyed gut microbiome from heaps of antibiotics, and then just loads of crappy food, not pooing when I should have been pooing. So that was, and then there was lots of other, health issues that came about in the next few years from that as well. But that was probably, I think, the starting point. My guts was screwed, and then that set the stage for lots of other stuff as well. Hence, so I ended up going to see the naturopath and started studying, and basically I haven't really needed a doctor since, and I look after my own health now, and touch wood, it's been good.
Touch the wood. And because it's so true though, when you're in public, you don't really want to poo, and especially being young, you're like, oh my God, there is no way they'll hear that.
I think it's a thing for females too. Guys are more happy to just kind of poo everywhere, well, not everywhere, but they're less sensitive to the environment that they will defecate. So yeah, for myself, I was quite a shy kid growing up on a farm, and it was like, oh my God, now there's all these people, and yeah, so I was quite self-conscious.
Yeah. And so you started studying, and then you got your qualification, and then where were you working? Were you working in like a practice or?
Yeah, I worked in health food stores and pharmacy. So just dealing with customers coming in, just on the floor, quick decisions. This is wrong. This is what's wrong with me. I'm feeling like this. What can I take to help, kind of thing. And I always help with diet as well. So just,
And what were some common things that you saw?
Oh, I guess when your radar's tuned into gut health, that's what I saw a lot of. I think that's very much a foundation for lots and lots of health problems. So, yeah, like for me, I'd always treat the gut first. It's like one of the main things we were taught in naturopath college as well. If you're not treating the gut, then you might as well kind of forget about the rest of it. The gut is really foundational to everything, like mood, so depression, anxiety, your immune system, inflammatory conditions, and, obviously digestive stuff as well. But
they say it's
skin,
like the brain.
Yeah, it's connected. You can't really separate the gut and the brain. They work almost as one, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And so let's just say, how do you know someone who's at home and they might feel a little bit bloated, or just like they eat something and they feel a bit, not right? How do you know that is that it is something wrong with your gut? Like, I'm coming to you for some advice. How would you know that it's something to do with their gut?
Well, I guess you kind of assume that most people in this day and age have some degree of gut dysfunction. So it's good to support in general.
Is that because of the food that we're eating? Or?
Yeah, I guess for me, I think it's 3 generations of excessive use of antibiotics is huge. Antibiotics are life-saving, don't get me wrong. They're needed in many, many instances, and I'm very grateful that we have access to them. But their overuse has wreaked havoc with our gut microbiome. So in our gut, it's supposed to be like a rainforest, like a really diverse ecosystem of gut microbes living and doing their thing. They're all doing different jobs, producing different metabolites. And when you take antibiotics, particularly multiple courses, you decimate that population and you completely change that terrain. So that's been happening for 3 generations. Plus you've got the antibiotics that's all through our food chain as well, and then chemicals in our environment, in our food chain, different medications that we take. There's a lot that's going on to destroy that. Plus you add in diets that are based on refined carbohydrates with, the fibre kind of all removed, just like flour and sugar, all of that stuff, too much of it. Sedentary lifestyles, if you're not exercising, your gut microbiome is not going to be healthy. There's so many factors.
And even just sitting down, you can feel like it all
stagnation. Just sitting too much. Sitting's the new smoking. It's like, we do way too much sitting.
And so what are, for someone who's listening and they're like, oh, I've got a little bit of that. What are some good things that they could incorporate into their diet?
Just in general for most people. Everyone is a bit different. There's obviously specific intolerances and allergies, but for the general human being living in this modern world, having fermented foods is great. So like your sauerkraut, your kimchi, apple cider vinegar, lots of plant-based foods. So plant foods have got all your fiber and your polyphenols. So your gut microbes, that's what they eat. They eat the basically plant cell walls, which is fiber. So whatever you can't break down in your stomach and your small intestine goes into your bowel, and that becomes food for your good gut microbes. If you're not eating lots of unrefined plant foods, you're just starving. You've got your gut microbes have got nothing to eat. They can then start to eat your gut lining. You'll end up with holes in your gut lining. You end up with lots of bad gut microbes growing. For example, when I was younger, when I was going through my boarding school, just eating lots of white bread and sugar and crap and had loads of antibiotics, I ended up with massive candida overgrowth. So candida is like a opportunistic, it's something we all have kind of growing inside of our gut, but if it gets out of control, which is really common after antibiotic use.
Like a yeast?
Yeah, it's a yeast. Yeah. So it'll give you vaginal thrush, which I had when I got my first period. Hardcore thrush. I was like, what the hell is this? This is awful, Mom. And so luckily at that time I was seeing the naturopath, helped me a lot with that. And yeah, it's like you need to be conscious when you're eating that whatever you're throwing down into your mouth, that is going to influence your gut microbiome. And if you're consistently just throwing down sugar and refined carbs, you're going to grow loads of candida and you're going to not be supporting your good guys. It's like I'm always really conscious what I'm eating. How's that going to impact my gut microbiome?
And then, like you said, like as soon as your gut's out, then I personally believe that's when it's a rollover effect of other diseases and illnesses.
Yeah. So when your gut microbiome is unbalanced, that then causes the domino effect of your gut lining being impacted. And your gut lining, that's the interface between your, I guess, the world and your body. So if that's not working well, your immune system goes haywire. So you get your allergies, your autoimmune conditions. Your immune system is very much related to your microbiome and your gut lining. So you get immune dysfunction if that gut lining and microbiome is out. And there's so much immune dysfunction.
So do you think like allergies, do you think that they can be reversed if everything is balanced out? Or
I've definitely spoken to people who have had severe reactions to food and that's calmed down a lot once they've fixed up their gut health. I don't know about true allergies, but never say never. I've not researched it deep enough to know the answer to that fully.
Oh, interesting. And what about because I hear this all the time, I take prebiotics and probiotics. What's your opinion on them?
So the science is evolving really rapidly on those. So probiotics, it used to just kind of be take a multi-strain probiotic that's got lots of different types of bacteria and it's got high numbers. We're moving more into strain specific, so doing the research into what actual strain is carrying out what function in the body, and we're going to move into more strain specific treatment. Also in the realm of probiotics.
Is that something from a naturopath that they would prescribe you, like a specific?
Definitely use it. And I often recommend people take them because so many people are really depleted. They don't have much microbial diversity. They've just got not much gut microbial activity happening. So if you just, throw in some probiotics, if you get a good one and it matches with the person, what they're needing, that can help heaps with digestive issues, immune stuff. What I actually feel is the direction we're headed in is fecal microbe transplant. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Basically what it is it's, well, if you think about it, it is what it sounds like.
Oh, poo.
Poo. It's poo. So basically if you've got someone with a dysfunctional gut,
this is when they put the poo in.
Yeah, you clean out that gut and then you just put healthy poo inside their colon.
Yeah.
And that's like probiotics on steroids. For me, that's the future of where we're going. It comes with risk because obviously you're going to get the good stuff, but there's also some potentially bad stuff in there as well. So it's really important that donors are screened. There's a lot of work still to be done to make that a safe and effective therapy that can be prescribed with confidence by everyone. But I think it's a huge, like the amount of amazing feedback that's coming from that type of therapy, it blows probiotics out of the water. It's kind of like the ultimate probiotic transfusion.
How do they put it in you?
They're working on developing a capsule delivery mechanism, but at the moment they make like a poo smoothie and it and it just gets pumped in, via the anus.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
Just, have a look, research it. If you've got some severe gut dysfunction, it's worth looking into.
Have you done it?
No, I've never done it. There's more and more practitioners like gastroenterologists and stuff doing it. I think the guy in Sydney, Dr. Borody, he's an Australian, he was the pioneer. I think he's right up there in it. It's controversial still, but I think it's going to become less so.
Yeah, it's like anything. As they start something, it evolves and evolves, and then then it's.
But it just
norm.
makes sense. It makes sense. It's like clear out the dysfunctional ecosystem, chuck a functional one in there, and let's see what happens. Obviously, you've got to then feed that ecosystem with the right. This is when prebiotics come in. So prebiotics are very different to probiotics. So the probiotics, they're your actual organisms that are beneficial to human health. Prebiotics are types of fiber that have been shown to support the growth of those beneficial organisms. So huge believer in prebiotics. That's basically what a healthy diet, like your diet has got to have lots of prebiotic fibre in there to support that healthy gut microbiome.
Yeah, because it'd be really good for someone who's like, you know, like ate takeaway for years and drank and not really looked after their body. They've been exposed to like too much sun and stuff like this. Yeah. It'd be really cool to, you know, put that poo in and then
start feeding it. Yeah. So it's like, here we go. Here's a new ecosystem to be the foundation for your health, and then feed it and cultivate it and watch what happens. Yeah.
Complete transformation.
They're getting amazing results, also just really preliminary, like, you know, early stage results with autistic kids as well.
Really?
Yeah, which is amazing.
Because it'd be interesting, like, let's just say I had breast cancer. Like, I wonder whether if they got like healthy poo, put that in and you started feeding, what would happen?
Yeah, there's potential for, lots of changes on lots of levels.
So talking about like our minerals and vitamins and like our macronutrients and all of that, how do you know if you're getting the right levels?
I don't know if you can. That's, for me, I guess I'm not really an expert in that area. There's probably, you know, some sort of testing that you can do, but I think you might be eating the right foods, you know, the right foods. Well, you don't actually know what the right foods are yet. I think anyone that tells you they know the exact right human diet, run a mile, because they actually don't. I think we know this much about how our body works and what we need. I guess listen to your body. For me, it's really important to be tuned into the signals, like energy. How's your energy? How's your sleep? How's your skin? They're big ones that you can kind of check in with yourself. If your energy's out, your sleep's out, your skin's out, something's probably a little bit out. And your digestive system symptoms,
Because I know, like, when I'm like low on something, I'll crave I think it's iron. I crave chocolate.
Yeah, and magnesium too. Chocolate, magnesium, iron and magnesium
straight away.
Yeah,
it's really fascinating how the body does give you feedback.
Yeah, like, this is what I need right now. Yeah. And as long as you're satisfying that chocolate craving with some good quality dark cacao chocolate instead of, like, you know, just a Sara Lee chocolate cheesecake. Sorry, so am I allowed to say brands? Whoops. Just blank that out. Just some just some random cheesecake brand. If you're satisfying that with as close to the source, you know, the natural food as it comes, then that's awesome. Your body's communicating, you're giving it what it needs, but then we've just surrounded by so much crap that gets in the way of that communication system. So there's so much bad food out there that's just so easily accessible, you know, Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another brand, sorry. Whoops. Okay, so we've got so much easy access to so much just toxic, poisonous stuff.
Yeah.
And it's crowding out the good stuff. So yeah, we got to be, it's almost like our mission has got to be, all right, sort through all the crap and just find the golden good food. And that's what you can eat, because there's so much crap out there that we just don't want to be putting in our bodies on a regular basis.
And especially for, like, what you said before with, like, depression and you don't want to, obviously no one wants to feel sad and not happy. So it's about feeding the right things inside for an overall effect of your performance daily.
Totally. Like, your gut microbes, they produce metabolites. When they break stuff down, they produce chemicals that can impact your brain and your neurotransmitters. So most of your serotonin, which is one of your feel-good brain chemicals, that comes from your gut. And you need to be making sure you're looking after your gut and your microbiome to be feeling good. So it's kind of almost, if you're just following the standard, you know, the standard Western diet, which is just a lot of crap, basically, you're going to feel sick, fat and depressed. It's like the natural, it's just what's going to happen. Like, you know, that's the logical response that your body will have to that kind of diet over years. So you have to take steps to prevent that, sadly.
And I think, like, if that's something that is in your diet now for the listeners, like, it's not, you don't have to make a complete shift straight away, because I think you will.
It's overwhelming and it's hard. It's like, for me, it's like you try and crowd out the bad with goodness. That's why I love farmers markets. because A, there's way less crap there to tempt you. B, there's lots of healthy folks running around. You see the trolleys and you're just like, wow, look at that trolley. Look at that. Oh my God, that's like, you know.
So vibrant.
So
and
vibrant.
colourful.
Everything's alive and it's like a good influence on you. Whereas when you're in the supermarkets, you know, you're seeing all these trolleys and they got soft drinks and chips and chocolates and you're just
You're like, this is easy.
yeah. And I used to tell my children, yeah, they must be having a party. They must be also having a party. That works for a little while with your kids, but yeah. But it's a good place to go shopping is at the markets, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I love, you obviously have a stand at the Northey Street markets and many other markets. But I love that about Northey Street in Brisbane is that when you do go, you just see
wholesomeness.
Yes.
Walking.
And people are vibrant and happy and energized. They don't look sad. They don't look and it goes to show, of course, it's the food that they're taking in as well.
Although it's interesting when you actually have conversations with a lot of those people, a lot of them have got to that place from a place of poor health. And it's like you sort of speak to, like, that's how most people end up on their health journey is like they feel a bit crap or they get a diagnosis or it's like a slap in the face. Hey, you're really not well. And they need to investigate, research, take their health into their own hands or get help. So a lot of those people have come to that place through that as well.
Yeah, interesting. So if you're someone that isn't quite there yet, let's get
we
you
all
on
started there. Like everyone wasn't there yet. It's really unusual to find someone who was born healthy and always stayed healthy. Usually the people that are born really healthy and have had no health issues, they take it all for granted and they're just like, I'm bulletproof, I can eat whatever I want. And then they get sick and they start their health journey.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, we've all got to get there from somewhere.
And I'm definitely a candidate of that.
Yeah.
My mum was like so wonderful, like had great like vegetarian meals. And then we had meat as I grew older. And then I was like, freedom when I moved out.
I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah. And I was like, Diet Coke and
see you
chips
later,
and
mum's
everything.
rules.
Yeah.
My kids are like that too. They're like, why did we have a naturopath for a mum? There's like a curse. You know?
And you're like, I mean well.
Yeah, well, my son is just about to, well, he's just started his carpentry apprenticeship, so he's going to be a tradesman. He's like, yeah, mum, when I have my my smoko, I'm going to send you a text. There's going to be a can of V and a sausage roll. So just, you know, in that age group of I'm going to rebel against, you know, my parents. He generally eats okay, but he eats all kinds of crap too.
So how do you deal with that? Like as kids grow older, because obviously, like I remember sleepovers. Like I'd eat so much junk food, and I'd come home and I was mental. Yeah. I was crazy. How do you incorporate or convince your kids to eat healthier?
I don't think there's much point in convincing kids that are of the teenage group because however hard you convince, they're just going to rebel and go, I don't want to listen to you. You're just nagging me all the time. So it's like,
do you do that reverse psychology or?
It's just you kind of let go and just go, okay, I know we're going to go through a period of eating crap. I did it. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
Let's not get all hung up on it because people are fairly resilient, robust. They get through it. They know what good food is and they do notice the difference. And it's just crowding out. Like, so trying to cram in as much goodness into the meals that are eaten at home and making sure the fridge is stocked full of good stuff and there's the bad stuff that you have, it's not as bad as the worst of the bad, you know, because they're going to want some packaged easy foods that are portable and like what normal people eat, you know. You don't want to have stressed out, anxious, fighting, you know, destroy the relationship over your food ideals with your kids. You know, that's way more detrimental than them eating Maccas every now and again, you know.
I remember McDonald's was like on a birthday and I got so excited for that birthday. I was like, I'm going to have chips.
Real chips. Yeah. Not like the homemade ones.
I never even got them either. I thought like muesli bars or lollies. Like that's how like our household was when I was younger. Obviously it changed as.
So it's really reassuring that you've come back to good food.
Yeah.
After growing up in a food Nazi house.
Yeah. Oh, it
hasn't left you permanently scarred.
No, it hasn't.
You've grown to appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I feel like like you said, you go off on this tangent and you get to a place where you're like, I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
And then you're a little bit more mature to realize, okay, I'm either going to stay this way and I'm going to feel like I don't want to do anything on the weekend because I've got no energy.
Yeah.
And you realize that and you're like, yep, I've got to somehow figure it out and move forward towards the healthy ways. So tell us, okay, Jeanie, you have got like these products, right? So you have a Blend 11 and a green powder. Tell us about, first of all, let's talk about, because I've been on this green powder now for a year and it's now called, you've repackaged it. It used to be called pond water. Yeah. So tell us about.
It was a good idea at the time. So basically it's grass, algae, aloe vera. Tastes kind of grassy and not delicious. It's not something you eat because you like the taste of it.
To be honest, I remember eating like a little bit of grass when I was younger and that's what it brought back memories. I was like, oh.
Yeah, so if you've tried grass or if you've mowed the lawn, it's that smell, convert that to a taste. Yeah, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
When I first started studying naturopathy, there was all these people drinking this green powder. And I tried some and I was like, oh, that's disgusting. How do you freaks drink that? I could never drink that. Gross. But then they're like, oh, man, it's so good for your skin, your energy, your immune system. And they're like, you have to do it. And I was like, man, I've got to get myself to drink this green stuff. It sounds amazing. And they looked amazing. And I was like, okay, I've got to get on this. So I just mixed it with a bit of juice and a bit of water and I was like, hold your nose and down it. You get used to it. So when you try something for the first time, like a supplement, you learn this in naturopath college, you're drinking all kinds of awful, disgusting stuff and you down it because you know about what it does. And then after a while, the grossest stuff becomes less gross. And I think it's the same with kids too. When you're introducing foods, they're like, oh, yuck. You get 20 yucks before you get a yum. You know? It's like you train your taste buds, and some things you eat because you like the taste, some things you eat because you know they're going to be damn good for your body. And so that green stuff is full of stuff that's damn good for your body, but you just got to put it in something to mask it. So most people do it in a juice or a smoothie or a squeeze of lemon or lime just with ice. Make sure it's nice and cold. So yeah, green stuff. When I worked in pharmacy and health food stores, I would get so much great feedback. You know, you'd walk in and you'd see someone would walk in and they were going to rebuy something and it's like, oh, why do you take that? And I'd always question to get as much info from people who are rebuying products without being influenced by, you know, sales and marketing, that sort of thing. The products that were consistently being rebought, they're the products that people notice a difference when they're taking them. Greens powders was huge, one of those. And so, yeah, did a heap of research. Why are they so good? And yeah, amazing impact on your gut microbiome. Your gut loves those green things. Your good microbes love to eat them. Your bad guys don't like them. Aloe vera, amazing for soothing and healing that gut lining, which if you've got inflamed, damaged, all of us do. Aloe is a great thing to be throwing down there just to put that little soothing, healing coating and help to heal that. Immune system, there's good research into aloe with antiviral activity. Aloe is also really good for blood sugar metabolism, so very good for insulin resistance, relevant for people doing training, trying to get their bodies to be better at building muscle as opposed to storing fat. So aloe is great for that. And just super nutritious, loads of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, particularly helping to support detox pathways in the body as well. So look after the gut and the liver, and there's less toxic load on your body to deal with, which is, your body's less stressed out. It can concentrate on all the things it needs to do rather than be just coping with this toxic load coming from the gut all the time.
And so like, because there's only like 5 ingredients, right? So tell us about, because I've had many different types of powders on the market. One, why powder? Why would you have a powder over eating kale?
Okay. Well, obviously still eat kale, but it's really hard to just go and buy some spirulina and some chlorella and aloe vera you can grow it easy enough, but the ingredients in there, they're not really readily available for most people to just go and purchase and incorporate into their diets. And to be honest, they taste kind of so you wouldn't want to incorporate them into diet. You just kind of have them in a powder. It's easy, chuck them in a drink and down it kind of thing. Yeah. That's why powder. Aloe, you can buy liquids, but usually they've got preservatives and stuff in there, or they're a heap of sugar. So aloe, I had to search fairly hard to get a good quality aloe vera powder, but wanted that in there because it helps you to absorb all your nutrients, and it helps with that gut lining. And it's just, aloe is one of those products that you'd get people rebuying and noticing a difference.
Because I've noticed like the Chinese have their aloe drink.
Yeah.
But I looked at it and I was like,
bad ingredients as well. Yeah, it's like, why would you put something so good with all of this really bad stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So basically, the thing that I loved about the green powder is I noticed not necessarily when I was on it, but when I came off
That's when you notice. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was just weird things, but it was more, I was for some reason getting more headaches and my tummy didn't feel as good. So then I just started having it again in my smoothies. And then without even realizing, it was like a week later, I was like, I just feel, like normal. Like I don't have any headaches. I don't have like any inflammation in my belly. And I changed nothing except for the powder.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is powerful. Like really interesting.
Yeah. And skin too, that's a huge one. Skin and energy. People notice a massive difference with incorporating greens into their diet with, skin and energy. And for me, skin, that's the organ you can see from the outside. It's the only organ that we can kind of visually look at and go, how's that going? So skin is a big indicator of what your internal organs are doing as well. If you can notice a skin difference, you know a product's doing you good internally as well. And energy, your energy, that's your basic life force. When your vitality is getting stronger, you're doing, good stuff as well with your diet.
So let's talk about poo.
Poo, my favourite topic. Accidentally.
Oops. Well, you have this product, Blend 11. Tell us about why you would recommend it.
So that sign, the best poos ever, that is our most common customer feedback for the Blend 11 product.
What's a good poo? Like for someone listening?
So on the Bristol stool chart, I don't know if you can see that, but that's basically what's used in all of your hospitals. It's a standard. You can Google it, the Bristol stool chart. I advise everyone to print one out and stick it on their toilet door. If you're not acquainted with how your poo should be, you're aiming for the smooth sausage. That is the holy grail of good poos. So you don't need to have that all the time, but as long as most of the time you're somewhere around that smooth sausage look, and it's comfortable and it's easy and it's coming regularly. That's like, and I mean like, once a day or more kind of thing is what I feel is a good frequency. Everyone's different. You don't have to stress if you're, not meeting that. But if you're consistently somewhere where your poo's too dry and squashed and clumped together and it's coming out in little nuggets, you don't have healthy microbial function going on, and your diet needs to change usually. And if you've got more towards the runny, sloppy, not formed, that's when it's quite scary. You've probably got a lot of inflammatory stuff going on, or an infection, like a quite acute microbial imbalance. It could be, inflammatory bowel stuff, which you definitely need to get checked, or some sort of severe intolerance as well. So your poos provide lots of clues. If you're a vet or a farmer or someone who works with animals, they can't tell you how they're feeling, what their symptoms are, but one of the first things you do is look at what's their poo doing, and that's a big clue to finding out, what's going on. I think as humans, with toilets, we just kind of tend to flush and forget and not look, but if you can, it's just one thing you can monitor,
You can definitely feel it coming out.
Yeah, totally. And a good poo is completely underrated. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just like done.
Yes, it's quick, it's satisfying, and you feel cleansed and refreshed.
And deloaded.
Yeah,
I feel
deloaded,
like
light and bouncy and like, woo, that was good. Yeah, and you want to have that feeling. It's
Do you do the whole how they say like lift your feet up? And then, so your feet are higher.
Yeah, well, that's really important. I actually did that during my pregnancies, because when I was...
How did you do that with a big belly?
Yeah, awkward.
Yeah.
Kind of probably dangerous, wouldn't advise it, build yourself the stool. But I used to just sit on the toilet seat, squat on the toilet seat and, hold the walls kind of thing. Because, that position is how we're designed to poo. And us Westerners sitting on toilets with... it's like an incorrect poo posture, so it's basically setting us up for failure. And if you do have poo problems like constipation, definitely advise getting one of those little stools. Google Squatty Potty. The ad is freaking hilarious. Like,
really?
you can get other stools, but just have a look at the ad for Squatty Potty. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And it will explain it too.
Yeah. And I think too, if you are feeling like a little bit constipated, maybe have a look at what you're actually eating, like do like a food journal, see what's going into your body.
Yep.
Because like you said, it's feedback, right?
Yep. So constipation, usually it's, fluid's a big one. You've got to be hydrated, drinking plenty, exercise. If you're not exercising, everything kind of grinds to a halt digestively. And fiber, so lots of plant foods. You've got to introduce more plant stuff. And then sometimes it can be gluten and dairy and FODMAPs. They're three of the big ones. Too much meat, animal products. Yeah.
I just listened on another podcast the other day, and they were saying that to digest meat, you need to have 8 times more water than someone who doesn't eat meat, just to digest
to create
it.
The stomach acid and
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, wow.
Just to get it through.
Yeah.
I was like, that is amazing, because we need to be hydrated, so it makes sense for you to need that to digest the food.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah. So if I've got clumpy poos, it's just, like randomly once a week or whatever, what are you saying, that maybe just add a little bit of fiber in?
Yeah, so prebiotics. So you need to build poos, like they don't just kind of form. Like your gut microbes are kind of always there creating and building these poos for you. So the more microbial fermentation you've got with the fiber that's coming in, the more likely you are to have these well-formed, poos that move,
Yeah.
And hydration as well. So you've got to have that hydration, and movement exercise is key.
And is this why you've brought the Blend 11 into the market? Or?
No, that was completely by accident. I just wanted to make a really healthy breakfast blend that was super nutrient dense, as opposed to most cereals that are just, refined carbs, sugar and air.
Yeah.
So I wanted something that was easy, like a cereal that I could feed to myself and my long-suffering children. And it was like going to give them good fats, protein, lots of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and be good for gut. And I just had a spare bulk food bin in a health food store I was working in. And so I was like, right, I'm going to put a really proper healthy breakfast in here. So I just grabbed the ingredients that I had access to and mixed them up. And I was like, right, that's what I want for breakfast. And I started selling it to everyone. We were all recommending it and started to get lots of feedback coming in. Oh my God, I've never been regular in my life. This stuff is amazing. It's helped, I can poo finally. So that was coming in consistently from people with irritable bowel, constipation, all kinds of poo problems, along with other good feedback as well. But that was the big standout. And so my partner was quite entrepreneurial, and he said, if you're getting these really good results and it's your product that you design, you should take it to market. And I'm like, and he's like, have a business. And I'm like, I don't want to have a business. That's like really bad for you. Because all these business people come in the shop, they're stressed out, not sleeping. They need all the adrenal stuff, magnesium. Yeah. They're not well. I don't want to be a part of that. So he just twisted my arm, said, let's do a farmer's market, and ended up in a business.
Yeah. And it's true. Like, I have it, and I am just like regular.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty,
it's quick.
If you eat it, Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. But like, I really enjoy it as well for being vegan. Like, it has pretty much everything that I need in seeds, nuts, and fats into my diet all in one. Yeah.
So that's, I guess, when I first made it, I was, wanting to transition to vegan. I was like, right, this is perfect with coconut yogurt, instead of like a regular muesli. It's got real nutrient density, and you soak it overnight too. So soaking is the important thing for absorption of your nutrients as well. And it was just ticking lots of boxes, covering lots of nutritional bases, and filling, like really substantial filling. It's not just a light plant food. It's actually a real substantial heavy one.
It's not like after 30 minutes you want to
hungry again.
Else.
Yeah, which is a issue.
And I recommend that anyone is listening that does have like a normal cereal, they should try their cereal one morning and time themselves how long until they get hungry. And then go try something like the blend. Where can they access this? Online?
Yeah, you can buy it through our website, which is www.goodmix.com.au, and then in the States, Amazon Prime as well.
Cool. So I'll pop all the details below.
Yeah, and health food stores, we've got heaps of stockists around Australia as well. So yeah, health food stores is a stockist list online, pharmacies. Mm-hmm.
And I reckon like as soon as you have this product, you can tell the difference, like in the timing of what I was just saying. It's definitely, you can tell the nutritional benefit for you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, skin, you notice stuff with your skin too as well because of the good oils and stuff. So yeah.
So you said that you were trying to transition vegan. What's going on? Like, are you now vegan? Are you not? Like,
I'm not vegan. Mm-hmm. No. So I grew up on the beef cattle farm.
Yeah.
So basically was raised on steak, and more steak, like lots and lots of beef. We had access, obviously, that was what we had, heaps of. So
yeah,
it was the easiest thing. And I ate lots and lots and lots of beef growing up as a kid until I went to boarding school. Then I just ate lots of garbage, which was, just white bread and, whatever I wanted. Then I went to see the naturopath and she's like, whoa, okay, we need to fix this up. Let's introduce, lots more vegetables. Let's introduce, some fish, all that sort of stuff. So then I went to naturopath college and I moved in with a heap of vegetarians. So I was like, oh, you don't actually have to eat meat. Okay, I'll just go veg. I was pretty much veg, never completely vegetarian, but very close for probably 12 years. So, carried on eating mostly plants after, living with the vegos. I felt really good. I was pregnant and breastfeeding then for probably 5 years in a row. And then I thought, all right, let's go vegan after I stopped that. And then I did that for a month and I just felt like, listening to my body, I was like, I actually don't feel as good. And then I started to I did a heap of research and I was like, this was 8 years ago. And I was like, probably 10 years ago now. So very different environment. There wasn't a lot of sort of vegan activity. Probably now, if I looked into it again, I may be more
what did
more
you
open
find?
to trying. Just particularly bringing up kids like 5 years, 8 years old. Vegetables are difficult at that stage anyway. They're fussy. It's like, I don't want to limit a food that's nutrient dense, and animal foods are nutrient dense. So I was like, man, it's just too hard. Let's just eat whatever we want to. Let's just put nutrient dense food on their plates, and I'll deal with all of the ethics and stuff later on, because I do struggle massively with the animal cruelty, because I grew up on a farm. I know what happens, and I know it's way worse for animals going into a factory farming situation, which I've just basically blocked it out because I'm trying to just not deal with that at the moment. So it's a struggle always for me.
There's a farm that, okay, so this was very interesting for me. I'm vegan for health reasons, not necessarily the animals. Yep. And Elise took me to this farm not far from Brisbane, and I thought we're just going to a farm to feed animals. Like, I had no idea what we were doing. And when we got there and they explained what happens to chickens, and they went through how they genetically make this chicken so that feeds KFC and Red Rooster, I was just like, holy shit, like this chicken was only meant to last 6 weeks. And it's huge. Yeah. It was so big that could barely walk. Yeah. And they said that it's called cage free because they're so big they can't even walk outside. Like, I was just like, oh my God, bawling my eyes out. We saw pigs, we saw cows. I was just like, this was an eye opener for me because I'd never seen that side. Like, I was just more about don't have meat because like I believe that the food that they ate was genetically made, so then they're not getting nutrient stuff in my eyes, and then that cow wasn't fully had like nutrients in it, so then I was eating that and I was like, what's the point? I might as well eat plants and nuts and everything that has variety that I can get all that from. And then when I saw this, I was like, it just shocked me. Like, it just took me back.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible the way that we've, I guess, turned animals into, it's just something that's an object that you try to make lots of profit out of. And how do you do that? You get them to grow as big as they can, as quickly as we can get them to grow, with the cheapest possible diet, and that's not creating healthy food products, food products from animals. It's like, yeah, it's awful. So for me, it's important when you're eating animal products, quality and know where it comes from, and you don't need a lot. I think it's something that different bodies have different needs for, and different life stages and different lifestyles. So it's like, listen to your body, and yeah.
But I think even like the movement forward, which will be interesting to see, is that plants will be genetically modified with all these chemicals, and so then it will be, I believe the way of the future is going back to growing your own sort of soil.
That's the only kind of real healthy way. If you look at a lot of the plant-based alternatives and the vegan products that are coming into supermarkets, it's the same story. It's like, let's put the cheapest possible ingredients into a product that's a commercial success. And it's just disgusting. You turn over the back of the packet and it's like, that is not going to create health in a human. Like, that's just not a healthy product to eat. Yes, it's not supporting cruel factory farming industries, but yeah, I do get really concerned about a lot of the, the animal product replacements that are just weird fake foods that are, not cool.
I don't know if you've tried any of the vegan cheeses, but like, I'm not a fan. I just will not. I don't want it. Like, it tastes like plastic.
Tried the cashew, the fermented cashew, that sort of stuff. Okay,
that's different.
That's nice, yeah.
But if I'm talking about where they've got the
shredded
coconut,
that's not healthy.
No, I think it comes back to coming to that like whole food diet, like real food, if it comes in a packet, then you should be concerned.
Turn that packet over and read it.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting as well, is like, if you do want to have something that comes from a packet, like obviously everything's packaged to some degree, have a look at the sugar content.
Yeah, massive. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, from my experience, they have no idea how much sugar is in food.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's addictive, and it's food manufacturers know this. They have scientists that are sitting there trying to design addictive food products that people consume lots and lots of, because that's what makes profit, right? So yeah, sugar is one of those things. It's awesome now that the public are really tuning into that and waking up now. But yeah, just know that as soon as you eat sugar, you're going to be hungry again. Like, sugar makes you hungry. Carbs and sugar, if you're constantly eating that, you're constantly going to be hungry. And then you end up with insulin resistance, and then you end up with more fat, less muscle. It's like, it's a spiral. So
spiral to fat.
Yeah. Spiral
unhealthy.
To fat, yes. It's where we're all headed, unless we're taking steps to not be headed that way.
And I think, like, if you're listening and unfortunately if you are going that direction, start surrounding yourself with people that are more health conscious.
Yeah.
And they will teach you small things, and you'll start implementing it and adding it into your diet. Like, for when I went vegan, I actually lived with a girl that was vegan. Yeah. Because I had no idea on like the certain nutrients that we needed, like the iron, the B12, like all of that hoo-ha. And it wasn't until it was in my everyday that I started to notice.
Absorb it. And that's a really great way to learn too. It's such a good way.
So Jeanie, tell us, what would be your top tips? Like, I'm listening here and I'm concerned about my gut biome. What would be your top tips for helping, for me to implement so I can start heading in a direction that it would be feeding it in a healthy way?
Okay, so number one would be use antibiotics minimally. So definitely find a doctor or find a practitioner who is not going to just hand them out like lollies. I think that's hugely detrimental to your gut microbiome. So if you've got a practitioner that you can work with and say, when do I need them? When do I not need them? You need to get that sorted so that you're not, putting yourself back to square one all the time. Eat lots and lots of plant foods. You're probably completely fine with that. Being vegan, vegans are usually great at eating but you got to eat unrefined as well. So if you're just eating lots of refined plant products, you're missing out on the polyphenols and the fibers that is what your gut microbes love to live on. So a varied base of plant foods, that's what's going to feed a good, healthy gut microbiome. Sugar, stay away from sugar and refined carbs, because that's going to feed your not so healthy gut microbes, and it's going to, it's just nasty for your gut.
Just to stop you there, and also if you are like the sugar is what, if you have heaps of bad gut biome, that's what leads to like constantly just getting flus and stuff like that. Because you don't have enough good
immune dysfunction. So if you've got lots and lots of bad guys, your good guys are kind of crowded out, and your gut lining gets damaged as well, and you're producing all of these unhealthy metabolites. So when you've got lots of bad gut microbes processing sugar and refined carbs, and you don't have many of the good guys processing the fibers, you're producing lots of crappy chemicals that are ending up in your bloodstream, and your gut lining gets kind of damaged and leaky. So you're getting stuff triggering your immune system all the time, more inflammation. Does that answer it?
Yeah. And does that sort of lead more down the pathway of like adrenal fatigue and chronic fatigue, like you were saying?
Yeah, because your body's stressed out all the time, just kind of dealing with stuff that it doesn't want to be dealing with. It's like there's no need for it to be constantly mopping up all this toxicity and inflammatory. You know, if you're inflamed and your immune system's working hard all the time, you're going to end up exhausted. So alcohol's another big one. I mean, alcohol's, really fun, but you've got to know that it's going to damage your gut. If you're using it all the time and to excess, you're going to destroy your gut microbiome and your gut lining. So
do you drink?
I do drink sometimes, yeah.
But Elise and I have made a pact this year. We're going to go a full year without alcohol.
Yeah, awesome, cool. Yeah.
Wow. So if we were to what would you drink? Like
when I do drink, it's normally just I'll have like a vodka, lime and soda or something like that. So, I mean, I go through phases where I don't drink anything at all because that's optimally healthy. But every now and again, it's like, that's really fun. I'm just going to have some drinks here and there. And that having fun is kind of good for you as well. So you've got to kind of, weigh that up.
Keep it in balance.
Yeah. Yeah. And know that you're going to have to do some repair work and know there's consequences and, yeah. But I definitely feel better.
What do you think of like activated charcoal after like having
I actually don't know a lot about activated charcoal. It's a bit of a thing that's kind of just come up recently. I've not done a lot of research into it. We always used to sell charcoal capsules to people who had problems with gas and farting when they were out in public because that was what you'd sell them for. It was like, it was a flatulence thing. So it was like, all you need is to take some charcoal capsules, or if you get like some sort of a food poisoning, it'll absorb toxicity. So I guess, it'll suck in a certain amount of toxicity from your gut and help you to get rid of that. That makes sense. There's better things that you can use, I guess, if you're, I think I did a blog on it not so long ago about, repair work or, how to cope better with if you are going to have some drinks.
So if you want to check out Jeannie's blog, where do they go?
Just the blogs on goodmix.com.au. There's something on alcohol. You probably just Google alcohol and Goodmix.
All right, cool. I'm going to check it out now. So what do you recommend? Like, would you say like a lime and like some lemon and lime the next day? Or?
Yeah, so stay off your sugars because sugar is a huge part. Like if you're someone who's drinking a can of rum and Coke or bourbon and Coke, that has got a massive quantity of sugar in there. Plus you've got caffeine in there. Plus you've got your alcohol. So that's a triple addiction right there. If you're having trouble quitting alcohol, that is 3 addictions you're trying to quit right there. So I would start with getting rid of the caffeine or the sugar, so you can just drink your, without the caffeinated sugared beverage. It's like, don't give yourself 3 addictions. If you're just starting out onto alcohol, don't go with the caffeinated,
the full one,
because you're going to never get off that. You're destined for alcoholism. Sorry.
Yeah. And a lot of people are addicted to alcohol, and it's probably
it's alcoholism in a. It's not like not alcoholism like you would picture the classic alcoholic whose life is falling apart. It's you drink every Friday and Saturday night, or you have a wine every night with dinner. In a way, that's still an alcohol addiction. If you can't not have it, you're addicted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough if you can just say take it or leave it, and you don't do it all the time. But if you're addicted to it, get real and admit that you're addicted to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Face it on.
And when you do notice a difference when you're not drinking, it's huge. Like your levels of inflammation will come down, your mood's usually better, your energy, it's huge. Yeah. And your clear thinking. Yeah.
The next day I feel so I'm okay. Like, I'll get up and I'll exercise to try and get everything functioning.
Yeah, metabolize it, get it through.
Yeah, but I'm so like lethargic, and I feel like, I'll do that tomorrow feeling.
Yeah, and you just become a little bit pathetic. And do you really want to live any part of your life feeling a little bit pathetic? It's kind of like you're borrowing all of the motivation and fun and energy from tomorrow and using it all up in that night.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, sometimes, that's fun to do. Let's have a party night. And you just know that tomorrow's going to be a bit of a blur. But you don't want to do that regularly. It's not like you don't want to live life like that.
Yeah. You said caffeine before. What's your thoughts on caffeine?
Everyone seems to metabolize caffeine quite differently, I think.
Really?
So, yeah, you get really different responses from people. Myself, I'm super sensitive to caffeine. Never drank coffee at all until maybe 3 years ago. Started to have one.
Is that because you own a business now?
Yeah. That's because I'm, one of those business people that is stressed out, needs magnesium, adrenal exhaustion. I'm headed down that road. So, yeah, caffeine is kind of, in my opinion, like if you picture your bank accounts. So you've got your everyday account, which pays for all your bills, and you've got money in there, and that should get you through kind of thing. So you've got your bank account that's for everyday spending. Then you've got your savings account, which, you're putting money away in there, and that is for when you really need it, or, it's for spending, on good stuff. Yeah. So when you're going through your day, your energy account is kind of like your everyday account. So every day you're using up your energy to get through the day, do all the things you need to do. When you have a coffee, because usually you have a coffee because you're like, I don't really feel that energetic. I'm going to have a coffee so I can feel more energetic. It's kind of like dipping into your savings account. So if you're just taking a little bit out here and there and you're not kind of completely raiding that savings account, you're okay. If you're just constantly draining your savings account in order to prop up your failing energy, you're headed for disaster. So just be aware, caffeine is a drug that affects different people differently. If you're super sensitive to it, treat it with respect. Some people are fine with it. Some people I don't think it's a big issue for, but know your caffeine response.
And I think it depends on how long you've been having it for. And caffeine actually doesn't, from what I've read, caffeine doesn't give you the energy. It stops the
relax.
I can't think of the name it's called.
The sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems.
It stops
keep you in the sympathetic and stop you from going into that parasympathetic, which is the rest and relax kind of mode, which in our modern lives, we don't spend anywhere near enough time in that rest and relax mode. We're all just sympathetic. It's like caffeine is the drug to keep you functioning in the modern world, which not sustainable.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next
if we rebel against it.
It'll be like alcohol, no, caffeine's like the new alcohol, and you just never know what could happen.
Or is there some herb that we'll discover that's just
Well, there's this massive movement. I don't know if you've been reading about like mushrooms, and like they're all different types of mushrooms, like mushrooms that there's like ones that help your gut, there's ones that help your brain. Like I feel like that's going to be a whole new
industry. Massive. Yeah. Mushrooms. We learnt a little bit about mushrooms 20 years ago when it was, there wasn't a big thing, but there was definitely products aimed at adrenal and immune support. The mushroom extracts, and now they've just building. I haven't read a great deal about it, but I think there's a huge future. There's great science to back a lot of the mushrooms, so
be interesting.
The future is mushrooms.
We'll all be a mushroom. We'll all be fungi.
It's really mushrooming. Sorry.
Well, it's been so lovely chatting to you, Jeanie. And I know now that if you're listening, we're actually going to jump into the kitchen and do some fun stuff.
Make some mess.
Yeah, we're going to make a mess. So if you are listening, jump onto the YouTube channel and check out our videos. We're going to have some fun.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks for listening in, guys. If you're on Apple, please leave a 5-star written review. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. All right, I'll see you next week with the next inspiring story.